So part two to I was a dental nurse and the trials that came with it. I then left. We kind of went through that period for 18 months. I worked in the Birmingham Dental Hospital, the old building. It's not there anymore. It's now in Edgbaston. For 18 months. I got my qualification. It's supposed to take 2 years, but I did it in 18 months. Why? Because I fell pregnant again. So this time I knew I needed to get my qualification and get it done in 18 months. In that time, so many more things changed. So Nathan decided he didn't want to work for charity anymore, and he decided that he wanted to set up again because it's in his heart to serve people in his way that he knows how. So we set up First Class Legacy Limited while I was pregnant with our fourth and final daughter. And when I went on maternity, I made a decision that I wasn't going to go back to dental nursing. I wasn't going to go back to working in the hospital. I was going to have Aaliyah and then was going to see what happened. I had the qualification, I had my registration, and I was going to see what happened. Those days of waking up at 5:30, catching the 6:50 bus from my house into Birmingham, and spending time ages away from home was really difficult. And a lot of things slipped actually in hindsight. like me being at home, girls get support with their homework, food would get cooked, like just mum stuff that mums do. I was finding that Nathan was having to cook, he was picking up the girls from school, he was doing this, he was doing that, but it just didn't feel right. There was no synchronicity in our home, and it was really difficult. We were like passing ships. Like I'd come in and Nathan would go out because he's going to go and do a night shift somewhere. He'd spend weekends away. So this is a key example actually of how we lived at one point. I would work Monday to Friday at the dental hospital, and he would work at the charity Monday to Friday. And then after work, I'd come home on a Friday and he'd be packing up his bag for a weekend, Friday to Monday shift in a care home. He would come back and I'd have to literally leave knowing that he's going to turn into the drive to catch the bus. And that's how we'd see each other. Like I'd leave, I'd see him turning in, and then I'd get in on the bus on a Monday morning with Willow. I'd take her with me, and doing that pregnant with their last daughter. I mean, I can't even remember how hard it was, to be honest. I think I've just got over it. You just do, don't you? But you carry on. It's part of life, and we've all got to make decisions that we don't feel comfortable with at the time, but it's just for a season. Like it's nothing like that now. I don't do any of that anymore. I did work in practice for a little bit after graduating. I worked in several practices across Birmingham, and even then went back to getting up really early because some of the practices were really far. Like I live nearer the other end of the city, and I'm going from this end to this end, and it's just really far. So it used to take me sometimes an hour or two to get to a practice. So get up at the same time, leave really, really early, travel for like an hour, and then get to the practice, start the shift, and then think, oh God, I've got to do another hour to get home now. And it was a mission, but you do what you've got to do to make money, to support your family. Rome wasn't built in a day, and I feel like sometimes we see social media and we see what people appear to be doing. But listen, we know, and anything that's worth doing isn't easy. Like no kind of job that we have is easy. I might be a CEO now and it might look glamorous, but there's a lot of hours of work. There's a lot of hours of reading. There's a lot of double checking. There's a lot of policy and procedure. There's a lot of accountability and responsibility that falls on my shoulders. And I do feel like some of those skills I learned in the dental hospital of, not necessarily infection control and cleaning or putting in fillings and things like that, but the accountability of working as a team. Because even though you work with a practitioner, you work with a clinician, a dentist or a therapist or a hygienist, you're a team, you're part of a team, and our department relies on you turning up on time and relies on you doing your part, relies on you sterilising appropriately and washing your hands, and you know, all the things that we're going through today in 2020 with the COVID pandemic. It's funny because I can remember going to work and being taught how to wash, effective hand washing, effective hand washing for infection control. And they will do hand washing audits on clinicians, and it was never the nurses that were bad. It was always the practitioners. It was always the dentists that forgot to wash their hands, or they took off their gloves, or they would touch their mask with their gloves on, and it's just like, oh, you're cross-contaminating. Like all this stuff that we're seeing today in society around hand washing and space and face, and you know, if you're ill, you don't come to work. Like that's standard practice in any clinical environment. Like, you know about, you know, infection control. You know that the biggest risk to your own life is other people's germs. So you do everything you can to keep yourself clean and tidy and out of danger. And I think that, you know, I'm not saying there's a cause for living like that in society, because we can't live in aseptic situations all the time. But washing your hands, guys, is just basic stuff. And basically, like I said before in my last video, we never used to go to work in the uniform. So I would go to work in my normal clothes, get there, pick the laundry. There was a laundry there. They would take your scrubs or take your uniform, trousers and your top, and you had different shoes. You didn't even wear the same shoes. So my shoes that I wore on clinic in that hospital never saw the ground outside. Like, I never walked into the house. And even when I got home from work after taking off all of that and washing my hands before I left the building, I still wouldn't come in the house and hug my children without taking a shower first, because I've been engulfed in people's juices. That sounds gross, but it's true. I loved it though. I absolutely loved it. I made some, oh my gosh, I've got some of the best friends from working in that hospital. We're friends today, like to this day, and we've watched each other grow. You know, we started there. I started there when I was 28, 29, something like that. And, you know, nearly 10 years later, we're still friends. And it's a lovely thing to know that we've made lifelong friends. You know, don't think I would have had that experience anywhere else. You know, I've learned stuff about people that I would never have experienced before. I've seen how the other half live. Like, some practitioners are making a lot of money. And, you know, they do things like go on helicopter rides to Monaco. They have boats and ships and live in big houses in the hills. And what they do is fix your teeth. And actually, here's a fun fact for you. I've never, ever, ever wore a brace. Like, I'll show you how to. Never wore a brace. I've never had my teeth whitened. I've got fillings. I've got a crown. I'm not too proud of at the back. It's horrible and gold. Yeah, I am a little obsessed with the way people's teeth look. Like, I do look in people's mouths often and be like, there you go. There's something you didn't know. I do that quite a lot. I am very obsessed with clean teeth. I think that's an occupational hazard from working in the hospital. Even with my own children now, it's like, have you brushed your teeth? No, go and brush them again. And I am like, yeah, we do visit the dentist and all that sort of stuff. But no, I've never had any actual invasive treatment to restructure or anything on my own teeth, which, you know, I was just blessed to have good teeth. I've got teeth like my dad, so he's got perfect teeth. Like, my bottom teeth are a little janky at the bottom, but his are like straight, like all the way across, like top and bottom. It's amazing. Absolutely, I mean, amazing. And he hasn't, obviously, back then, please, I was taking out teeth for joke. So he definitely hasn't any work done. But yeah, that's it really. It's a kind of a whistle-stop tour into how I got into dental nursing. It wasn't, as I said, how I imagined it would have been. It wasn't something I had on my agenda. I always thought in my life when I was younger that I wanted to do something clinical. When I was very young, I wanted to be a doctor. Actually, I wanted to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. But that just seems like whoosh, way over my head. I think I'm better in business. And actually don't think I like people that much enough to do that kind of job. You really gotta love people. Working in dental practice teaches you that as well, because there's no prejudice. Everybody and anybody comes in there. People with money and people without money. So that is a big like learning curve. I don't know why there's banging. There's banging above my head. Anyway, yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I would definitely say for a young person who's not sure what they want to do and they want to learn a skill, definitely apply, because it's a job that you can have for life. There'll always be dental nurses and practitioners needed. And yeah, I think that's it. I think if there's anything I would say from that experience is that it was new. I embraced it. I did it. I can go back to it at any point. My qualifications are not there. I'd have to just re-register for my registration with the GDC. But aside from that, you know, I was very good. Wherever I worked, dentists want to work with me. I just didn't want to work with them. And that's the truth of the matter. I still have friends who are dentists now and they're doing extremely well, and worked with students that were learning who I've worked with since they're qualified, and that's been really good as well. But yeah, I think people skills, physical hand skills, you know, all that stuff, infection control, done it all. But yeah, that was it, guys. That's 2 parts of my dental nursing journey. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.